Did your lifestyle change during or after divorce?
Well, it's different now that the kids are in school.
Well, I think the difference is that there's not shared, like a household isn't shared anymore. So that, of course, is going to impact when, you're taking care of a household. You're not having two people with two incomes taking care of a household. So right there, that's a major change.
Was that scary for you?
Well, I sat in your office. You remember what you said to me, that you kind of said the same thing that your counselor said when you first came in and sat. I mean, I was like a deer in headlights. It's very traumatic. And I think, I'm not to lessen what men go through, but for women, and we've talked about that multiple times, Steve, since then, that's the thought of, oh my gosh, at this stage in my life now I'm going to be, responsible for my, for my living and my situation. And so, it's definitely an adjustment. It certainly is, but it's also empowering, because then you do get to know that what you do is, you're responsible for it, but you're also, going to gain.
Obviously, then in the beginning it's a shock, or it's certainly a change. So how long did it take before you said, you know what, I can handle this?
I started coming in here to see you guys, about a little over a year ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years.
So it took me almost 3 years to finally say, okay, this is now happening. We've split the assets. We've figured out what we're doing. Because I had been freelancing and I'm still a freelancer, and I don't make a whole lot of money. And I had become accustomed to a very, very nice lifestyle. And again, like I said, that was my panic. But I was very lucky that I have a very generous ex-husband who just said, you will live the lifestyle you're used to, and I will make sure of that. Okay. But it took me a good probably 3 years just to say, okay, I really have to do something about this. I've got things that we're doing from a spousal support standpoint. I'm still not making a whole lot of money on the freelance. And like you said, do you approach it differently? Oh my gosh. I approach everything I buy and purchase back to, because I grew up in a little tiny blue-collar home in Los Angeles, and I approach everything back to those roots of, this is too expensive, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it's kind of changed the way I budget stuff, but it's probably for the better.
Did you pull a credit report or look at your credit during or before the divorce?
Well, when we were splitting up, it was in the late 90s, and we had purchased a home, and we decided we're going to have to sell this home, and it was at a time where it went through a short sale. So that was all new to us. And then at the end of the year, we got a 1099 as income for that short sale, and that was another shock. But yeah, it was definitely an upset of the whole financial situation. And like you said, having two households, all of a sudden, there's 2 electric bills, 2 phone bills, 2 of everything. And yeah, so that was challenging.
I find it's funny. We're still on the family plan for our cell phones because and that's the things that you work together on, because for the boys who use so much data, and we had this incredible cell phone plan, and it's like, why not? And like he's on, I forget. Is it my Costco membership? Something, we've done some things that it just makes it nice. There's not, work together when you can. I mean, why not?
I was on his health insurance for years, and he finally said, I'm having a hard time checking off you as a spouse anymore. So yeah, then I had to get my own health insurance. Yeah, I was on my health insurance until 2 years ago. And it was just like, okay. I'd say, well, do you want me to get, no, don't worry about it. Okay.
How about you, Sherry?
Well, we were both self-employed, so health insurance has always been interesting because it was never through an employer. And no, with health insurance for me, the minute that we were divorced, I couldn't be on that plan. but they had to insure me. But I've been caught up in that was United Healthcare, they pulled out. Then I got to Cigna, they pulled out. So healthcare has been definitely a challenge because of just the nature of healthcare today. Credit-wise, luckily we came out with really good credit. So I had established. I mean, it was kind of funny. Some of the things that would happen is if I wanted something that was maybe, I don't know, furniture or something. But, well, if you can go qualify for the so-and-so credit card on your own income, then go get it, And because I'm like, it's interest-free for a year. And so I would do that. And so I had my own established credit as well, which is so important,
Yes,
I think,
definitely.
in a marriage that women need to be aware of, that they need to have a financial identity.
Having gone through the divorce process, can you think of anything that you would do differently either before, during, or after the divorce?
For me, and I think because my situation I'm kind of shoved into this interesting little corner of how we're managing assets. But we kind of assumed that the interest rates were going to be going up. And I'm in a situation now where the income I was supposed to be getting is not going to go up because the interest rates have stayed so low. So financially, would I have done some things? Yeah, I might have done some things differently, just as far as arguing for ways to make this whole thing work. But again, I've been extremely fortunate when I have had financial issues. I can still go to my ex-husband and say, help,
Right.
and he comes through 90% of the
But
time.
prior to you getting divorced,
Oh.
would you have done anything differently?
Yeah, I would have tried to figure out investments, and I would have made him sit down and say, this is what we have, this is how it works, because he was very, very knowledgeable in the stock market, and I mean, he had been a commodities broker when he was younger, and so for him, investments were just part and parcel of the game. For me, they scared the Jesus out of me.
How about the two of you, Renee?
We didn't have any investment. we
Well,
had a
we-
home, but would I do anything different?
Right.
No, I think we were trying to grow our, financial lives at the same time. We had common goals in that way, but our spending habits were different. He liked fancier cars and clothes than I did. So I was more practical in taking care of the kids and the needs that, the immediate family needs. So we both had even credit, I would say.
And Sherry, would you have done anything differently prior?
I think if I would have, it probably would have maybe moved the divorce up more, because I would have, I wish I would have stood up stronger for decisions that I felt kind of run over by. But then that would have caused more issues, so.
What kind of resources were you looking for? Not just financial, but in general, what were you looking for when you're going through the process?
Well, I think for me the biggest thing has been the support of friendships. So women should not give up their friendships in their marriage. Like, it's very important that you give a lot of attention to your family, your spouse, your children. But friendships are really, they're a lifeline. And one of the things in my marriage was that my ex-husband was not very open to my friendships that were before, and yet I really came into his world. He had the bigger family, his career. I blended into his world, and I had friendships that I maintained, but they were more long distance. And one of the things that has happened in the last years is I've been able to flourish with the friendships from before, and people commented on the situation, and I'm not going to film that part because it's personal, and I don't, if anyone watches it down the road, I wouldn't want feelings, but it's just that would be my counsel, is that we don't give up our identity and our friendships, and that spouses on both sides should be respectful of friendships that there are, because they're so important. And my faith, that's been my glue. I mean, if I didn't have that, I don't know how I could have gotten through.
Yeah, the friendships thing is definitely, and I think women tend to, and I think it may be a generality, but I think women tend to form these very intimate friendships, even when they're younger. And my best friend and I have been best friends since we were 14. But I have a circle of women that I'm in like a group with, and I literally, I felt like I was just like hugged by the entire group. There were people saying, if you don't want to be alone tonight, let me come over and make you dinner. Let's get you involved. Let's get you to going out and go to a movie. Just get you out of the house, get you to do things. And again, don't lose those friendships and don't lose your own identity. Always know who you are. Well, they're saying right now there's this, in this particular era, there's now this big issue of gray divorce. And it's all of us who were married in the early 80s and are now reaching our 40s and 50s, and there's a great spike in the number of people who are getting divorced. And I was reading, because right after it happened, I started reading these articles about it, and they're saying it's a very real trend, and it's happening right now, where because of the society we've grown up in, and we all just so, oh, well, we've either grown apart, or we just don't want to live together anymore. And there's more people splitting later in their marriage. I mean, I would never have thought 31 years and we're splitting up. That was unthinkable.